Hey everybody, Jared with Secondlifedesign. Welcome back to Milling Monday. Since I've started this and before I started this, I get a lot of questions about drying lumber, whether it's kiln drying it, air drying it, how long does it take, when do I know it's ready, what kind of moisture meter to use, what's the good percentage to go by, just a lot of different topics all related to drying. And I'm going to start picking those off as we're going along, but I want to give everybody kind of a good base of information about moisture within a log or a slab and how that moisture is lost. There's a lot of science to it that I'm not going to get into, that I can't speak about, but I've just kind of share my experiences and how I can relate that to something a little more visual that might help people understand what's going on in the drying process. I always tell people, dry it slow, just like you're doing a barbecue or something, just low and slow. Let it take its time, dry out slowly. That's going to give you the best chance of not having any warps or cracks or slabs blowing up, anything like that. When we're talking about the moisture in a slab, there's what's called free moisture and then bound moisture. So if you think of the slab as a living, breathing thing, there's going to be the water in it that's everywhere, that's in between all in the end grain, all the different the tubes going up and down, the rings you see, and then there's water within the cells and the cellular fiber of the wood. So the free moisture is the loose water that can lose easily. The bound moisture is everything that's within the cellular level. I've got a visual here with me. I'm going to help to illustrate, kind of how the moisture gets lost from a slab. That might help you kind of understand what's going on in the drying process. So you get a totally green log. I've seen them where they actually have water pouring out of them. If you were to check them with a moisture meter, they're going to be at 35-40%, around there roughly. That's pretty typical. That's a standard number, and that's going to be a totally green. Let's say it's a living tree that was just cut down. That's what you're going to see. You can see actual water pouring out of it. So I've got my grout sponge. This is pretty dense, but it kind of gives our visual of what we're looking for. This is our totally green slab that you have just cut it and you need to dry it. So the free moisture is what I would say is the moisture content from the 35 down to about 20. It's going to lose that really quickly. So you can see this kind of pouring out here as I tip it over, there's the free moisture goes away quickly. That's what's going to happen when you doing the air drying for 6 months, or your first step of air drying. You're going to see a lot of drop in the temperature or the moisture content right then. Where it's going to take longer, we get rid of all this free moisture. So losing a lot of it, we're going down in percentage, we're right there. So not anything dripping out of it. This is what's going to take a lot longer. There's all this water stuck within the cells of this sponge, or the slab in this case, and we have to force that out. It takes a lot longer for those cells to break down to release that moisture, and that's what's going to get it down from the 20 down to the 10, 8%, whatever you're going to get, 12%. That's kind of depends on your region. So I air dry everything, so that would be just like sitting this sponge out and letting it dry out on its own, and that's what we got. It takes a long damn time to do that. So the way you can do it with a kiln, it's actually forcing that water out of there. That's what it's doing. It's doing it through heat, not through a physical motion, but it is breaking down the cells to release all that moisture. So that's the free moisture versus the bound moisture. In relation to the scale of the 35% green log down to dry usable material at 10% or whatever. So this is like I said, a very convoluted analogy, but I think it helps to illustrate. You're going to see a lot of change really quickly. It's going to drop that number really quickly, but it's going to take, the second half is going to take a lot longer. When you go from that 22% down to the 10 or 12, that's what's going to take a lot longer. So this is a very basic rudimentary idea, but the free moisture, bound moisture thing, I think it kind of confuses people. And if you think of it in terms of stages of losing the easy water first and the hard stuff is what takes longer, kind of keep that in mind. I know some kiln operators, they will recommend not bringing in a stack of slabs until they've been air dried for 6 or 8 months. That's to lose all the free moisture, slow down the process make it better for the bound moisture. So I hope that's not too in the weeds for everybody. I was trying to think of the best way to describe this, and it kind of occurred to me that the grout sponge is a good analogy for it. So I hope that helps. I'm going to have some more content on drying, as in specifics, with a lot of questions about end grain sealing and other things of that nature. I'll get into those, but I want to get the good base down of moisture within a slab and how it loses it. So I appreciate all the support. Hit the thumbs up, the subscribe button. Really appreciate it. If any questions or comments, leave them down below. If you want to find me on Instagram at Secondlifedesign, that's an easy way to get a hold of me and get some more questions going there. So, and we'll catch you next week. Thanks.